What's going on, people? What's going on, people? As you see, the Brady Bunch circles is on the screen. High quality tea. I am your boy K Styles. To my left, as you know him as Mad Mike Sports, aka the Senator.
Right.
On the other side of the screen, y'all know him as the Minister, the calm before the storm, Jew Talk Sports. There you go. Right below him, we have the Summer Hill Nightmare. Your favorite food critic, the Don is in the building.
I got one thing to say, man. I don't care what anybody say, and y'all gonna be upset with me, but I don't care. The lemon Oreos is the best flavor Oreos, hands down.
Okay, we're gonna let you have that right now. We're gonna let you have that right now.
Who in the bloody hell eat lemon Oreos and say they the best Oreos? Like that
Me,
don't even make sense.
me.
I got an Oreo McFlurry right here. It's just traditional Oreos.
Ooh, that's not, that's not,
I don't
Well.
think I've
Hey,
ever
Don't say
had
the
one.
Oreo, the traditional
Never.
Oreo isn't the best kind. Like what the never mind. Never mind.
they taste a
We can't
lot better
start.
than them sour. They taste a lot better than them Sour Patch Kids Oreos they had. But
trash.
yes.
Yeah.
We ain't going down that road. Hey man, like you said, we are the Heavy Hitters live, and we have a special guest for us this evening. Um, my friend Lars Hanson. Go ahead, let the
Sound
people
like a
know.
Matrix. Don't he sound like a Matrix character? That's your name? Is that your name?
Yeah, and funny enough, actually, there's another Lars Hansen that spells it Hansen. That was a 6'11" white guy that played basketball at UW, and so everybody up in Seattle was always like, "Oh, are you related? Are you related?"
Oh.
And I'm like, "No, I'm a 5'6" white guy. I ain't got. I'm like maybe Jason Williams. I'm like the poor man Jason Williams. Like I got kind of handles. I played basketball on the East Coast for a couple of summers, but no. I write about sports. I don't play.
Hey man, hey man, we got Lars in here. He's representing the Seattle Seahawks in this conversation. As y'all already know, this is the Battle of the Birds. Got the Falcons versus the Seahawks. And before we go ahead and get started, let's go ahead and shout out some of the people that's in this chat right now. We got King Treyway, about whatever. Got Tony Hall, Bobby Boy Zone 3. And Miss Maggie T, aka Anime, is in the building, y'all. Lee 85, A137 Sauce, Brian Peoples, JB, ATL Leo, Dre Murphy, D Coleman, and Georgia Texas boy. Man, Mike, what do we call that? We call that the what?
And dang sure ain't the lemon Oreo, but it's the real Oreo.
Baby.
Those look. I try to do my best Flash impression, and I guess I hope it works.
Hey man, hey. That man so mysterious, boy. We didn't know what the hell was going on with him, boy. You know he wasn't the greatest guitarist of all time. I tell you that much. All right, man, Lars, man. Since you are our guest of honor this evening, man. Um, as we got a lot of the fans here that may not have been watching Seattle Seahawks football so far. How do you feel about y'all season so far?
It's about what I expected. I mean, as I told you guys before we started pressing record, Seattle came out 3-0, and there was no reason they shouldn't have won their first three games. You look at it, it was Denver Broncos, they two-list Miami Dolphins, and whoever the third team was, it has escaped me off the top of my head already. It's just those are all three games that Seattle was expected to win. Then you go into the Detroit game, yeah, you're probably going to lose that one on Monday night. That's a fair, Detroit, Dan Campbell, Ben Johnson, everything's already been dialed up there for a couple of years, so you knew what you were getting into there. Still had a decent showing. The one that was concerning and the one that was slightly coaching malpractice, well, not slightly, it was coaching malpractice on Ryan Garber's part, was the New York Giants game, where Kenneth Walker the third, had 5 carries at the end of that game. That is criminal for how good of a running back he is. Now, it also speaks to the other side of the problems that Seattle was having, which is on the offensive line. They can't block a soul. Well, Charles Cross can. Abe Lucas hasn't been able to be healthy at all this season. Anthony Bradford and Christian Haynes flip a coin there, I guess, who is going to be worse at right guard this season. Connor Williams still coming back from the ACL, getting acclimated. So I think he'll probably get a little bit better. But, the rest of that line, it's just there's Charles Cross and 4 dudes right now. It's basically what it looks like. Laken Tomlinson is a good veteran, hasn't played like it. So a lot of the Seattle problems stem from, Gino's good. DK kind of coughed a couple of ones away. But other than that, it's been about what we expect.
Okay. All right, man. Hey, look, we're gonna let Don kick us off with this one. You gonna run point with this one, man. So let you go ahead and give your takes to this game. Give you keys to victory, and we're gonna let you go right after that.
All right.
What you got, Don?
So I do want to shout out Seattle for making a great hire at the coaching staff. Mike McDonald, I think he's going to be a great head coach for y'all down the stretch.
I'm just laughing at Mike.
Now, I do want to ask this question for you before I get my 3 keys. AJ Barner, how is he doing up there in Seattle for you guys?
He's progressing. I mean, the Brian Grubb off and that explosive. That's never going to be brought anything like that. But in terms of a blocker, Ben probably one of their best in that department. He got a couple of catches this season. I think they're still trying to figure out the tight end position if we're being real. And I think he's been doing what they need him to do, which is blocking, which is good.
Yeah, he's a great blocking tight end, so that is true. So, but my 3 keys, I really feel like what we did in this past game, we needed to do again. Yeah. I don't really believe in Seattle's run defense at all right now. I feel like will each running back get 200 yards? Will each running back get 100 yards on the ground this coming game? I don't know. I don't know. But I do think that we'll run the ball effectively against you guys this Sunday. One thing I need for us to do is we got to generate suppression, man. We got to get home with the sacks. I feel like we can if we can rattle Geno Smith a few times, I really feel like we can get him off his games and get some turnovers, hopefully. But other than that, man, I really feel like our offense is coming alive. Our receiver core is playing well. We know our offensive line, they really improved, the past couple of weeks. So they've been playing well. That's pretty much it. So.
Okay. What you got there, Jew?
You want me to go ahead and give my key for the game, K, or just give a little soliloquy?
Hey, go ahead. Hey, you can do both. And then right after that, we're gonna let Lawrence give his key to victory for the Seahawks.
Okay.
Go ahead,
I'll
Drew.
give this a key to victory. Don kind of talked about it on offense. I really feel like we're going to have to be dominant in the trenches as far as running the ball. I mentioned this doing What's the Word on Tuesday. Like the Seahawks, to me, their strength of their defense is the secondary. Devin Witherspoon, Tariq Woolen. I don't know if he'll play in this game. Lars, is Woolen playing in this game or is he still injured?
I think he's out. Don't quote me on the. Mike McDonald's been a big fan of we're going to answer everything on Friday, so it could be still undetermined, but I'd be willing to bet he'll miss this one.
Okay. So depending on if he plays, I mean, their secondary is their strength. Julian Love at the safety position. They have some players on that back end, but I really feel like in this game, you're going to run the ball, open up the pass. The middle of the field should be wide open for guys to have their way. Put Drake London in the slot, let him do what he does. But on the defensive side of the ball, Don talked about it and Mike talked about it a little bit this morning or early afternoon. I was on my lunch break at the time, but I caught a little bit of him talking about us just keeping the quarterback, especially mobile quarterbacks. Geno Smith is not a guy that necessarily wants to run, but when he does try to take off, we just got to stay in our rush lanes. That's the main thing in this game, is stay in your rush gaps. Geno Smith will throw a couple interceptions if you force him. He's going to try to throw the ball down the field. He's not a quarterback that looks to run first, but if you run past him, like we've been doing in some of these games where, we go inside, we get out of our gaps, we lose that leverage and that contain, then Geno Smith is a guy that can, break the pocket, keep plays alive, which we know Lockett, when he was with Russell Wilson, one thing that Lockett's really good at is the play after the play, meaning once the play breaks down, he breaks and goes down the field, breaks off his route and goes down the field, both him and Metcalf. So in this game, you want to eliminate those big plays down the field, but you have to be good at keeping your leverage on the defensive line. Guys staying in their gaps. Stop playing hero ball. Just stay in your gaps. Don't allow Geno Smith to extend plays, because Geno will. We seen it on Thursday night last week against the 49ers when he broke the pocket a couple times and scrambled for first downs. So I don't want to see that in this game where we're losing contain on the quarterback, and that's where he's picking up first downs with his legs on third down. So my main key is really just contain your leverage, play. All 11 got to be on the string, especially on the defensive side of the ball in this game. If we do that, I think we have a good chance of winning this game, because we haven't given up a lot of explosives. So my main concern is just Geno scrambling.
Okay. Go ahead, Lars.
Yeah, no, though, I was going to say those are all great points. I think for me, really everything starts with Seattle finding an ability to establish a run game in the first half, because if they can't establish the run game in the first half, all the reasons that the Falcons could win this game will come true. Atlanta will be able to bring pressure. Geno's going to have to be forced to drop back to pass. And as I touched on earlier, this offensive line, it ain't great. It's, I think, 29th in the league, 30, somewhere certainly in the bottom half, where you're picking in the top 5 of the draft if it were based on draft picks. And so for that reason, you have one of the best backs in the league in Ken Walker. You can't necessarily use him because the offensive line can't get a push. If Seattle can even just kind of play ball control in the first couple of drives, just get some momentum going to where Geno's not being forced to throw, let's say, 3 to 5 times on that first couple of drives, because Geno can hit those big plays off play action, create those explosive plays with his legs or with his arm. But that only happens if you can actually have a threat in the run game. Ryan Grubb is a very capable offensive mind. So same thing with Jimmy Lake, where, people would ask questions like, hey, is he a good defensive play caller? Yeah, he's a fantastic defensive play caller. But sometimes great coaches can almost get themselves in too great a situation, and it ends up costing them, where they overthink it. I think Ryan Grubb has done a little bit of that, and having these past few days off to kind of reassess where things are at. I think they know the fact that you have to get Ken Walker going, because, yeah, when you can get the run game going, then you have the time to pass and think about Metcalf or think about Lockett. But none of that happens without the run game. And then defensively, yeah, they got Ray Robertson Harris from Jacksonville. People up here are thinking it's a big acquisition. To me, I'm like, well, it's a body that can play multiple positions. But I looked at, his number. I mean, his play on the field is pretty decent. He had a sack last week, or a TFL last week. But I don't look at that and say, oh, that's a guaranteed impact guy that's going to be able to, cut those 100-yard rushers down into 80 or 70-yard rushers. I don't think that's going to be the case. Also, you got to get Byron Murphy back, which I don't think he'll be back for this week either. But, so there's so many reasons why you're looking at Seattle and thinking, if you can really, anytime Kirk drops back to pass is when you're going to have to flourish, because that's when you're going to have to press Kirk, get him off his feet, get him off his rhythm. Because Atlanta's got some weapons. You mentioned Drake London. There's plenty of pieces there for Atlanta to exploit. But Seattle's strength is their secondary. I agree with that. Their linebackers are – I'm a big fan of Tyrell Dodson in like 2 or 3 years when he gets fully into form. But Tyrell's a long way away right now. So, there's so much over the middle that can happen. And it basically just begs Atlanta to say, you know what, we're not even going to bother throwing. But, yeah, we have a $180 million quarterback, so we got to throw. So for me, this is the case of Seattle can hang around in the first half. You're there, but this could be a case where if Seattle can't establish the run game, Atlanta's offense is able to get up 21-7, 28-7 at halftime. that could get sideways in a hurry.
Hmm. So pretty much what you're saying is just pretty much try to establish the run game as early as possible.
Exactly, because if you don't, that's the thing. If you don't have a run game, we've seen it. We've seen it this entire couple times this season where when Ken Walker hasn't been able to get going, Zach Charbonnet is a fine player, but he's not Ken Walker. So to me, you have, and again, I might be biased in saying this, but at least a top 5, top 10 running back in Ken Walker in terms of his play on the field. He's averaging what 6, 7, 8 yards a carry. So he's a guy that is clearly, when the ball is in his hands, he's able to do something. Was out for a couple of games with an injury, but since he's been back, the injury is not why he's not getting touches. I guess I could clarify that. It's not like they're limiting him because he's still kind of suffering from that oblique injury. No, he's fully healthy. Ryan Grubb admitted it. He got away. The game got away from him, and I'm like, well, okay. So this is a week where you're going to go on the road. You're going to have to be tested again, and the pieces are all there except for the offensive line. I'm not sure if that's going to save anything. So really, I say establish the run, but that really starts with the offensive line winning in the trenches and winning those one-on-one battles. Because when Geno's 5-on-4, you're 6-on-5, you're kind of in a world of hurt because he's been able to find those guys. But we've seen plenty of times this season where he's gotten picked off and, either DK doesn't run the right route or whatever the case may be. And it causes, miscommunication. But Seattle, from a talent perspective and even a coaching perspective, I think they're great coaches, but they don't have a lot of wiggle room. That is a very fine line between 1 interception and 2. 1 maybe keeps you in the game. 2, you're already losing.
Okay. All right, Mike, man. What you got for me? Michael.
No, I just like that. I just
He fucking
uh
around, y'all. Don't pay him no mind.
nah. I look at this game. Seattle scares me for the simple fact that just like I just don't know where you're going to get from 'em. Like teams like that always frustrate me and they always scare me. I just don't know what Seattle is going to show up. For the most part, you look at the history of Seattle and Atlanta. Atlanta, for the most part, has gotten the better of them. It's always been gained at a close. Um, but for the most part, it's just one of those games. Like both teams are going to play. They're going to run the ball. They're going to be physical, and the game is going to be close. So for this game, for me personally, I think this is going to see this game for me is going to be that game for the Atlanta Falcons. What these guys are all about. If they come out and set a tone immediately, as Lars stated, come out, get out to a 21, 28-3, whatever the case. Yes, I said 28-3 lead. If we come out and get the 28-3 lead, um, I think fans and the media is going to look at these guys and say, all right, these guys are the real deal. But how are they going to do that? I think this is a game for Kyle Pitts and Drake London. I think they are going to eat in the middle of that field. I really believe that they're going because I look at the linebackers, uh, and look at the safeties. The safeties are great. I think they're good safeties for the most part, but the safeties have to overcompensate, especially for a lot of play action. Um, Looking at them against San Francisco, San Francisco was killing them over the middle with a lot of those play action plays, and a lot of guys were wide open. In particular, Brandon Ayuk, and a lot of those crossing routes, drag routes going around the middle. I just think the Falcons are going to they're going to destroy that. Kirk Cousins love to play action. The Falcons can run the ball, and I just don't think that they have enough at the linebacker position or even up front to get consistent pressure. So I think this is going to be a game where the Falcons it's going to be dang near identical to what the Falcons did with the Carolina Panthers. It's going to be a lot of play action. It's going to be a lot of run action. It's going to be a lot of Tyler Algier. It's going to be a lot of Bijan Robinson. So Falcons, yeah, Not gonna get into the picks, but I think this is gonna be an interesting game for the most part.
Okay, okay. Yeah, pretty much this gonna have to come down to Falcons kind of riding high on this 3 game win streak. That if they just have to stay the course, this is not really the type of game where they have to take Seattle lightly. Because like you said, even though you may say Seattle's got them up and down games like that, they still got playmakers on both sides of the ball. So then, like you said, this is a team you can't take lightly. So the main thing is going to have to be with the Falcons is they have to be disciplined, and I'm gonna keep on saying that. The most disciplined team is going to win this game. You see that was a universal take for both teams. You see that's how we do over here.
Yes, yes,
But
absolutely.
yeah, thank you. Golf clap, everybody.
I'm doing it on my wrist. I'm doing it on my wrist over here. You
Yeah,
can't see it.
no, we see we got who he got you, man. See y'all, he already fitting in as part of the family, man. So this is the part where we start talking about like the main player, like I said, an X factor player that you think the people need to look out for, or particularly your team. Um, Lars, who you looking for to be the X factor for Seattle, man?
DK Metcalf, for all the reasons that he has been the opposite X factor the last 3 games, where you go back and again because I love DK. There's so much potential for him in this offense, and you go back and look at grabbing the headset and asking Grubb to throw farther than the sticks in the last and not I'm not sure if it was the game. I think it was against the 49ers. Yeah, when he was doing it, when he literally gets on the headset and you clear
Yeah.
as day. I'll confirm that for you. It's like Grubb, please, and I can't say the rest of it, but throw beyond the sticks. Give me more than a 10-yard out. Give me something other than 3 yards, and I got to make the rest happen on myself. What happened in that play, though? The rest of that game, he actually gets the touchdown, but it's called back as a penalty. So your point about the more disciplined team, the smarter team, the more mature team, the more grounded team, whatever word you want to say to it, that needs to be DK's persona coming into this game. I know the first fumble, Mike McDonald said, look, we're never going to hate guys for fighting for extra yards. But at some point, what is 2 or 3 yards from the 33 to the 31? Like, if you're at the goal line, completely different. This is a different discussion. I have no problem if you're going to leap out and try and get to the end zone. Do that. Great. But outside the 20, who cares? Just go down, man. Like it's 3rd and 3. It's 2nd and 1. Whatever the game. Because every time the DK has fumbled this season, opposing teams gone down and score a touchdown or a field goal. I want to say 13-0 in terms of fumbles to points for opposing teams just from DK Metcalf alone. Again, Seattle's margin of error is not very big, especially in this game where you're looking at Atlanta, quarterback check, running back check, line check, defense check. Seattle, it's quarterback, all right, running back, good but underutilized, offensive line, holy cow. So like you just go down to the list. There's not a lot of room for those type of errors to happen. So Seattle needs a mature DK, one that and this is why we love the NFL, because this game is lining up for Falcons coming in 3-0. It's like, what? Yeah, you should be 4-0. Look at Seattle. It's like, but this game, if somehow by some miracle it's 31-27 in the fourth quarter, I'm not going to be surprised because it's the NFL. There's somehow it's like, hey, Seattle finally gets to rebound. Atlanta's not going to blow Seattle out, but yet it won't take much to blow Seattle out at this point too.
Well, yeah, K Styles actually got a word, a quote for what you just stated with DK Metcalf. What we call it, K Styles?
What we call it?
Doing too damn much.
Okay, I thought you said quote. I thought you said word for a
Nah,
second. I was trying to think what the
it's a
word.
quote.
Yeah,
That's
the
what I was
quote.
gonna say. I was like, wait,
Yeah.
I don't know if I should answer that one because there's a few.
Yeah, it's
Nah.
doing too dang much. Dude. We had that same issue with Desmond Ritter.
Yeah,
Trying to
but
do too much. Just go. Sometimes you have to just go down. Like it 2 yards.
yeah,
It's not a first down. It's not an important down. Like just go down, bro.
Yep.
yeah. I think DK's issue is because he knows he's like the physical specimen on the field.
He's a
Is
fake
he?
ass Julio Jones. Okay, I'm I like DK, but he's a fake. He's a fake Julio Jones. All right, just look. You're not Julio. Okay, just understand you're not Julio. Be DK. It's okay to be DK Metcalf.
Is there an Alabama Ole Miss decipheration in there because Julio went to Alabama and they're just a little bit different? Because you're right. Like it's like a Washington receiver versus an Oregon. It's a Washington receiver. It's like, hey, like some of those Washington D linemen actually good. Vita Vea, like you look at these guys, whereas USC, not so much. So I actually think it's a good point. Like DK's always kind of looked in the shadow of those guys like Julio because he was a second round pick. So you're right. It's not out of pocket. You're 100% right.
Mm-hmm.
I just
All
want to say that
right.
from the Seattle end.
Yeah, it's true. All right, Don. Hey, Truth, what's going on, man?
Brothers and brothers. Grand day to y'all. How y'all, man? Everybody okay?
We good.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we great. We good, man. We good. Hey, man, you just came in the nick of time, man.
Hold on. Why he look like he Ray Charles? Like what in the hell? What?
It's the lighting. It's the lighting.
Hey,
Like he
It's
out
the
there?
lighting.
well,
Hey, man.
I want to
Hey,
go ahead
man.
and get my after
I'm,
party.
I'm just trying. I'm just trying to preserve my eyes, there, brother. That's all. That's all.
Oh, okay.
My X factor on both sides. Well, I'm gonna start with Seattle. I think AJ Barn is gonna be our X factor. If he can seal off the blocks on the outside and Kenny Walker can let go, we gonna be in for a day. And I know we struggle with the runs on the outside lately. Now back with the Falcons, I think our X factor in this game is gonna have to be Ebby Katie. I think Ebby Katie is gonna have a good day Sunday. I really think he's gonna have a good day. I know Matt Mike, you sitting over there looking crazy.
Oh, you know, you ever had them ice cream headaches?
Oh Lord.
Ebby
You
Katie
tell you
actually
got
had
you got you got
he had a decent he was decent Sunday.
All right, I'm fine now. I'm sorry.
okay, so we got Ebiketti. All right.
Uh, please don't say that word again. Please, Lord have mercy, don't say that again.
Number 17. How about that?
Yeah, that's better. That's better.
Okay, so you say he's 17 until he earns his name back.
Yes. Whew. All right, that's better.
All right. Truth, man. What player you looking for? First of all, what do you think about this game coming up, and what player are you looking for to be in the X factor in this game?
Don't know much about Seattle, so I had to speak from a Falcons perspective, and I got to go interior line, defensive line. I got to go. Can I? Is it okay if I give you two names?
Go ahead, man.
90. Well, I'm gonna give you two numbers, 90 and 97. If they can do what they did Sunday in Carolina and what they did Sunday on multiple plays, I went back and rewatched the game. Multiple plays they took up 4 men. If they can continue to take up 4 men on multiple plays, then that should make a big day for either 53 or 55.
Okay. Interior to defensive line. Okay, I like that. I like that. That's actually, cause I kind of have a feeling this is where Jew might be going. I could be wrong. Um, Go ahead, man. You got that smirk on your face, like I'm on to something. What you got?
Yeah, you own something.
Real, I'm gonna make Real happy.
Yeah, you did. Yes, you did. You see that smile on his face,
Okay,
right?
Real. Okay, Real.
Yeah, hey, you said the right number. He like to call numbers. I say number 55, man. I think Caden Ellis gets a sack or two in this game. Like, to be honest, we've been struggling to get after the passer, but I really feel like when Troy Anderson comes back, Caden Ellis is one of our better pass rushers on this team. So I like what I've been seeing out of him as far as rushing the passer. So I really feel like in this game, they're going to put him on the edge at times and let him get after Geno Smith. So I think he comes away with a sack or two in this game, maybe a sack and a half or 2 sacks in this game, because he talked about the O-line of Seattle not being so good, you know. And I really feel like Caden Ellis, he's one of those guys that don't get a lot of shine. But if you listen to what the coaches say about him and the other players rave about him, Jesse Bates, Grady Jarrett, Caden Ellis is one of the better linebackers in the league, especially when he's rushing the passer. So he doesn't get a lot of shine when he's playing the center field, like the middle linebacker, because he's kind of playing out of position, but he's a guy that can do multiple things. So I think Caden Ellis on the defensive side of the ball. On the offensive side of the ball, y'all talked about the running backs, but I think Drake London is a superstar, man. He's a budding superstar. I told you guys, if you use him the right way, Kirk Cousins trusts him. They moving him around. Zach Robinson understands that you don't have to leave him on the outside. You can put him on the inside of and play him in the slot. And I really feel like that's been a huge difference this season with Drake London. When he's in the slot, he's hard to stop. He's a big target. He understands how to use his body. Unlike sometimes what Kyle Pitts doesn't understand how to shield off defenders. That's one thing that Drake London knows how to do really well. And one thing when we get in the red zone is we've seen with Kirk Cousins is he's pinpoint accurate with the football. Where last year with Ritter, he didn't know where to go with the ball, or he was sometimes afraid to try to thread the needle. It seems like they're on the same Wi-Fi. Both Kirk Cousins and Drake London and Kirk Cousins and Mooney. Those two guys, he really trusts those guys. So even last week, to me, he threw that ball in the crowd last week for that touchdown with Drake London across the middle, but he trusts them. And he talked a little bit about it today in his press conference that it feels like London has a good feel for when to sit down in zones. They're on the same wavelength. And once you get down in that same wavelength, it's really hard to stop. So I really feel like Drake London has another big game. And he's already at like 400, almost 500 yards on the season. So this is probably going to be the first season where he gets over that 1,000-yard mark. But that dude is a budding superstar, man.
Yeah,
I have to agree with. I'd agree with you on that, Jew. Put them big guys in. Have them big guys in the slot, man. Let them big boys be in the slot, and let them shifty guys be out on the edge. 1 and 34. Let them guys be on the edge. You said something key, man. We need Kyle. We need Kyle to play like Drake, but do it in the form of a tight end. Anybody disagree with me on that?
I think he's kind of been doing that. I think he's been doing that now. I
think
think
he's been
he's
playing
more.
better. I think he's been playing better. I don't think he's been playing as bad as a lot of people making it seem. I don't know. I guess people got an axe to grind when it comes to him, but I think he's been playing better. But I want to see him take that leap. It ain't got to be a giant leap. It could be a moderated leap at the tight end at the tight end position. I want to see him here for years. I'm kind of rooting for him. If that makes sense.
The thing is, he's already taking the leap, but he's not taking the leap that's it's one of those things when you look at him, and this is the problem with a lot of guys that's coming out of the draft. A lot of players have this stigma of what they should be instead of what they are. That's the thing with Kyle Pitts. He's not a wide receiver. Okay, like he wasn't a wide receiver in Florida. He's not a wide receiver in the NFL. He's a tight end, and he's doing tight end things. So tight ends are not going to get the recognition or the shine. Like if you look at what Travis Kelce means to that Kansas City offense, like he is that entire offense as far as the receiving core. He allowed a guy like Rice before he got injured to receive a lot of those targets because he took up a lot of attention. And I think that's the thing when you look at Kyle Pitts, you don't see a lot of the things that he's doing for the Atlanta Falcons offense. He's allowing Mooney to get more catches in one-on-ones. You let Mooney get one-on-one. It's the same thing with Lockett for Seattle. In fact, these guys are receiving a lot of one-on-one opportunities because of a guy like DK Metcalf on the outside. So a lot of the things that we see in these players, we're not seeing it because obviously they're not getting the big time plays because they're getting doubled and they're getting clouded and things of that nature. So we're seeing it. It's just got to be patient with it.
Right.
In a way, it's almost like people think Kyle Pitts is going to be Jimmy Graham, where it's like, well, Jimmy Graham actually was like a point guard, was like would get the touchdowns, but he wouldn't do anything else. Whereas Kyle Pitts can actually do other things for you, whereas Jimmy Graham was like, no, I just want to be a wide receiver, but call myself a tight end. It's like, no, you're going to do a few more things that actually we need to make this offense click. That's a good point that you made there.
You cooking,
And for y'all that don't know, he has experience with Jimmy Graham because yeah,
Yes.
it didn't work out in
I
Seattle
own
like
Atlanta.
he thought
I
it was.
own them. I own Atlanta. I own them. They do that shit.
Boy found out real quick. No Drew Brees, boy. That boy fell out the league real quick.
I do want to add real quick though. You guys, when I watched Drake London to USC, that you say budding superstar. I mean, by the end of the season, he will be like that kid from his freshman year at USC. And watching him at Washington, I was like, man, like Drake. I forgot if he had like 150 or what. He had a ridiculous game against UW a couple years ago, and I'm just like, man, like USC might be average or some other words I probably can't use on here, but Drake London is going to be a guy. And Atlanta, it's almost like Atlanta is like the perfect melting pot for all these guys that were in college that maybe were great individual players but had bad teams. Now you got a competent quarterback and a great one, by the way, coming in 3 or 4 years whenever Mike gets his shot. You guys will love Mike when he gets his shot. I'm sure you already do, but I'll just tell you that covering him the past couple of years, like there's a reason why you went from Desmond Ridder to the best quarterback room in the NFL, arguably, where it's like, look, you had that bad last year. Let's avoid that. Get Kirk, pay Kirk, and if Kirk goes down, you got a really good veteran rookie coming in who's, old man River out here, but still, so he's not a rookie. He's well ahead of the curve. And so Atlanta, I mean, you guys are going to be cooking for a while, regardless of what happens this week. I'm not buttering you guys up. I'm just saying, like, the way that operation is being built down there, again, I understand why everyone's like, wow, why we just paid Kirk 180. Why are we doing Mike? It's like, if Mike is who I think Mike is going to be, nobody's going to care. And he's not. He's going to make Jordan Love look like nothing.
I like that.
And you said
Why
something.
say that?
You said USC quarterback boy Keydon Slovis boy. He couldn't throw you. He couldn't throw your way out of a trash bag.
He couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat in Santa Monica Pier.
see. I thought I was the only one that wasn't tripping when I seen that. So
again, I hate dragging college kids because they're in college, but Keaton.
Oh
I think we're in
no.
fifth or sixth school at this point, so who cares?
Exactly. All right, Don. So this is your part, man. You already know the history part and the food part. So this hosting spot is yours, man. Go ahead, take it away.
All right, man. So Lars, like, what made you become a Seahawks fan? And who's your favorite Seahawks player of all time?
Oh, well, so I have a really interesting kind of backstory with the Seahawks. I grew up on Bainbridge Island, which is I always grew up a Seahawks fan. Ricky Waters back in the day, Steve Largent back in the day. My dad was a huge Steve Rabel fan because my dad likes all the the players that were good but not like the great. Like he not that he hates Steve Largent, but it was just that sort of thing. Also, my dad grew up in Green Bay, in Wisconsin as a Packers fan. Adopted the Raiders. Told Mike Holmgren when he was still the Seahawks head coach that he was a Packers or that he was a Raiders fan. He's like, and Mike Holmgren's like, I'll pray for you. So I kind of have a really unique, interesting relationship with the Seahawks. So I'm not necessarily like a diehard fan, but I love the team because it's where I grew up. My favorite player, if I had to pick one, he's grown on me, but Walter Jones. And I know it's not a traditional pick because he's an offensive lineman, But if you look at what Walter Jones did, especially during that Super Bowl run, and didn't leave when Steve Hutchinson did, which was, again, Tim Ruskell. I'm not going to go down a whole history there. So I don't put that all on Hutch because, again, he's back with the organization in some advisory role now. So they made good there. But, can you name a better offensive tackle in the 2000s? Maybe Jonathan Ogden, Walter Jones, Jonathan Ogden, and who? Like, Orlando Pace, right? Like, there's 3 or 4 guys that come to mind right there. And it's not a sexy pick, but it's almost kind of like, when Seattle is really, really good, they always have a really good left tackle. I know that kind of you're stating the obvious here, but it's like, no, even you can have a Super Bowl win, and you couldn't tell me who your starting right tackle or left tackle is because, he's good, but he ain't like all world. He ain't Joe Thomas. I mean, Joe Thomas, one of the great left tackles, never made the playoffs. So, what Walter did for all those years, and I've gotten to know him over the years, and he's a great ambassador for the city. So I'd pick Walter Jones, and I'll give you another recent one. Doug Baldwin does not get enough national respect. Like Doug Baldwin, when he came out of Stanford, undrafted, his story. Had he played anywhere else, had he played in Atlanta, he'd be talking like him, like you talk about Julian Edelman. Everybody talks about Julian Edelman. Nobody talks about Doug Baldwin the way that he should be talked about like that. And so I'll give you 2 right there.
Okay.
That man said Walter Jones, man. Hey, look. We appreciate offensive linemen over here.
Wait
Go ahead, Doug.
Yeah, wait till I get to my pick. But
we know. He went to Michigan. We know.
Well, I was gonna say in a sidebar comment, I also cover UW, and congrats on the national championship. But I also thought, a couple of weeks ago at Husky Stadium would have been different.
Man, whatever, man. Y'all still got some of y'all returning players. We ain't got nobody, man. We still trying to figure out who our quarterback on.
I mean, to be fair, Washington basically has a brand new roster. They got a junior college left tackle who hadn't played football in 18 months. Like, it's bad up here.
Again, man.
Yeah, Mike. Yeah, that's where the University of Washington is at. They went from a Troy Fautano left tackle to, I love Max McCree, and I think, depending on how much Big Ten football you guys watch, you'll learn about him next year more so than anything. He's got a great backstory, actually. If anybody's a shameless plug here, type in Max McCree Athlon Sports, go check out his backstory that I wrote over the summer. Dude was working at Aldi's and a Febreze kind of plastic cap.
I heard that story.
Yeah, and now he's back at Washington starting as the left tackle. So to say that Washington has some guys returning, but they lost pretty much everybody off of that team. And everybody that was worth coming back, Parker Brailsford's at Bama, Kalepo and Buelo are at Ole Miss. There's a lot of the pieces that are new. But either way, it was a good game. Sorry, I didn't mean to sidetrack the whole show here.
You good, man. You good.
Yeah.
Drew, who's your person?
I'll have to go with Cam Chancellor. You know why? As you partial to Michigan, I went to high school with him. So to be honest, I didn't think that he was going to be what he turned out to be. He was in the same history class with me. In high school, he actually was a quarterback, believe it or not. And then he went to Virginia Tech, switched over. He played both ways, which most guys play both ways in high school. He played defense, but he wasn't known for the big hits and things of that nature in high school. Like I say, he was the quarterback, and then he went to Virginia Tech, and that's when he caught on. He started watching videos of the late Sean Taylor. They changed him over to safety, and then he became that dog that we all know. So I have to say Cam Chancellor. Without the neck injury, he probably would have played a lot longer. But I think for his career, just the intimidating factor that he brought to that Legion of Boom defense. Like everybody talks about Richard Sherman, everybody talks about Earl Thomas. But if you talk to those guys, they talk about Cam Chancellor being a heartbeat of that defense. So just his physicality, the hits that he put on guys, man, in the Super Bowl, the way he hit the late Demaryius Thomas, God rest his soul, the first play or the first drive of the game when he tried to run that crossing route, the hit that he made on Vernon Davis on the sideline when he basically knocked the sweat off his helmet. Cam Chancellor was that guy, man. He was just like the Legion of Boom. The first player I think about is Cam Chancellor, but yeah, man, he was a special player. So I think that he definitely is one of those guys that I think could probably be in the Ring of Honor one day for the Seahawks.
Okay. All right. OG.
Um, I gotta go with a look. I gotta go with a local guy from well, at least he is from the A. A guy by the name of Jeff Bryant. Jeff Bryant played defensive tackle defensive end for the Seahawks back in the late '80s, mid to late '80s, early '90s. I played football with his brother Garrett Harrison. So I kind of paid attention to the Seahawks a little bit because of Jeff, and I also on the offensive end, I love Jim Zorn. Lefty quarterback, one of the very few lefty quarterbacks back then. Wasn't too many of them. But so I know I'm kind of telling my age a little bit. But Jeff Bryant and then my other guy would be Jim Zorn.
Okay. Man, Mike.
I gotta say Sean Alexander, man. It's like Sean Alexander for me was just like he, the guy was just like he was just exciting to see. Like he was just productive.
Yeah, he was the next guy with me.
He was just fun to watch, and during that time, just getting into like following football full time. He's one of those guys that I watch closely, and I don't. The only reason why I wanted to watch Seattle is to see Sean Alexander. So that's the guy for me.
Okay. Okay.
All right. What about you, Big Style?
Don't say no dang on kicker because I'm gonna slap.
Man, shut up. We ain't doing that.
Jason Haska or Steven Haska.
We ain't doing no Steve Hosker. See. Lars took he took the main one I was gonna go with, but I'm gonna
Mhm.
go with number two. I'm gonna have to say Marshawn Lynch, man. Beast mode.
But
I was waiting
Beast
for
mode.
somebody to say beast mode.
Beast mode. The
mhm.
This year
attitude,
started off with fine.
like you said, that was the attitude of the Legion of Boom. It all started right there, and I'm just one of those guys where I just like to see people dominate on the field, and right there, I got an honorable mention too. Um, I'm gonna go with hmm, I'm gonna go with Max Strong. Y'all
Oh man.
Really? Okay. All right. All right.
Max Strong.
All right.
see,
All right. So
see, you didn't
I gotta hear an explanation on this one.
I'm a fullback guy.
Okay.
I'm a fullback guy. I like
Yeah,
fullbacks. And like you said, he said Sean
Okay.
Alexander.
Yep.
Guess who was opening up them running lanes for Sean Alexander? Max Strong.
mhm.
I'm a
The man
fullback
will
guy.
never get enough credit.
Yeah.
Fullbacks don't ever. The only fullbacks that I've known that really got a lot of credit the last few years is maybe Mike Allstott and Lorenzo Neal. Outside of
Yep.
that, the guys like Max Strong, Tony Richardson,
My,
um, Stanley Pritchett, like Bob Christian, Justin Griffin. They didn't get no shine like that. But
Probably
yeah,
Moose Johnson too.
Moose, yeah.
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 Michael Robinson, yeah, I
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
ain't think I knew about
I was gonna say the former quarterback turned fullback.
you ain't think I knew about that, did you? You ain't think I
No,
knew that.
you know what? I actually, 48 minutes into this, I was not surprised when the Michael Robinson poll came through. You guys seem like some very well educated football fans. I mean,
Yeah,
with the fact that we got Jim Zorn, we got Cam. Respect to Cam Chancellor because nobody will ever believe this. And again, I as great as the internet is, I haven't been able to go back and find it, but I used to write for Bleacher Report way back in 2009. And I remember specifically doing like a pre-draft review on Cam Chancellor. The only reason I remember it is seeing that 6'5" frame. I'm like, Seattle has to take this dude at some point in day 3. Did I think he would be what he became? No. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying he was going to be all worldly. I ain't here to pretend like I'm the prophet or anything like that. But you just look at that frame. Like, there was no way. Maybe he could have played middle linebacker. Who knows? But yeah, dude, there's so many. As I was saying, it's like Walter Jones, like, yeah, this is my favorite. Like, man, there's so many to choose from, and the fact that it took us that long to get to Marshawn was also incredible.
Well, my favorite Seahawks player of all time, he's currently in the Catton in the Hall of Fame. Steve Hutchinson. Steve Hutchinson.
And why that is done?
What college did he go to?
Look, he got a look. Matt, you be talking about Matt Strong and Sean Alexander and Matt Hasselbeck, and them guys wouldn't be household names without Steve Hutchinson and Walter Jones.
And what school did he go to?
I forgot.
Michigan State, right?
I love my little brother.
He went to the University of Michigan. Yes, he was on that 1997.
We know.
Yes.
No, keep going down.
So yes, Steve Hutchinson. He's my favorite Seahawk all time.
And Sam, don't nobody know no damn Lynn Kane and Rocky Blair, okay? Nobody knows.
All right, so
hold on. We're gonna do a poll with everybody watching. How many of y'all raise your hands if you thought that Don was gonna pick a Michigan player? Were y'all shocked? No.
Caught me a little off guard. I'm not gonna lie.
Exactly. Go ahead, Don.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get to the last portion of our show. So Lars, I'm glad that you told me that you actually live in the Seattle area. All right, so tell us something, man, about y'all chicken teriyaki up there.
Oh, okay. Have you been going through my Twitter feed or not? Because
I haven't.
Seattle has some of the best teriyaki ever. Like,
I really haven't. I haven't went to your Twitter feed, but I know.
I'm just saying, because that's actually like the fact that you pulled chicken teriyaki. I was not expecting. I thought you were gonna say seafood or something.
No, it's not.
There are at least a dozen chicken teriyaki places. Actually, Steven Jackson, former Golden State Warrior, has a seafood restaurant in I don't know, it's off Rainier. It's near downtown. It's like maybe like 10 minutes from downtown. Chicken teriyaki there from Steven Jackson's place. I think it's Jackson Seafood or what the restaurant is called. But yeah, Steven Jackson has a seafood restaurant in Seattle that I think you can get some pretty good chicken teriyaki from. So if I would say where you should try it in Seattle, there's a couple of places that I would recommend, some teriyaki shops that, I guess if you're from the 206, you would, like from people down in Atlanta, it's like, hey, where do I go to get some good barbecue? Or where do I go to get some good, really good, whatever you want to get down there. There's some good chains, and then there's, the real mom and pop places that you've been going to for a while. But yeah, Jackson Seafood in Seattle, that'd be where I would try the teriyaki.
And what's your best thing about the chicken teriyaki up there, man? Like, because I heard it's really good.
I think it's the sauces. There's so many different seasonings with the sauce, and it's not bad. Like, every time you go to a restaurant, it's like, oh, hey, we got our house teriyaki sauce. It's like, all right, how much is that different from what I go open my fridge right now? Like, how much different is the seasoning? It's kind of like the, what I'm assuming you guys might, maybe you don't know, but the stigma of Seattle is, micro brews and stuff like that. All those sorts of things kind of come into food where, like, we'll make really good seafood. We'll make really good sauces. And I think it has nothing to do with the meat of the chicken or, anything even with the rice. I think it's straight up the sauces. That's where it really comes into play for me.
Yeah, I've heard that it's like a sweet, and then after it's sweet, it you can have a little kick to it, a little bite. So that's what I've heard.
Yeah, and if you imagine kind of like if you've been to like Kansas City barbecue and Texas barbecue, if you kind of combine the two, the sweet and the kick, that's what you get from Seattle.
Ooh, and I love Kansas City barbecue, and I love me some Texas barbecue. But yeah, another thing, so they set y'all apart from a lot of, because every region has a hot dog.
Yep.
Okay.
Y'all put cream cheese and jalapenos on y'all hot dog. Is that correct?
So I actually love Seattle dogs, but I don't do the jalapenos. I just do, and I understand. I understand when someone says you put cream cheese on a hot dog. I understand, and I can also look myself in the mirror and well, maybe some people would say it checks out, and I get that. And you'd be correct for making the observation. It's really honestly not that bad. The problem is you can't put ketchup with it. You can't put mustard with it. It's straight up. You just got the bun, the cheese. And as long as it's cold but spread properly and not chunked like Philadelphia, it doesn't need to be whipped, but it has to be like soft enough to where it's, I don't want to say it's stronger than blue cheese, but not like a brick of an actual, you're going and getting the plain sandwich and doing a bagel sort of thing. So there's a specific kind of texture to it. But, I can, I throw some grilled onions on there on top of it without the jalapeno. But jalapeno, onions kind of interchangeable there. But I prefer it, onions, cream cheese. You can't have it very often, but it's not the worst I had. I mean, granted, I'm somebody who hates sushi, so I do, I can't. There's nothing. You can put $1 million in front of me and the keys to the United States. I'll pass. I'm good. I'm good. If it costs me eating sushi, you can have it. It's all yours. But so I understand. It sounds like it's a weird kind of food and texture, but it's not.
I'm gonna try that tomorrow. I just put 4 grilled hot dogs. I just wrapped them up, put them in the refrigerator, and I love cream cheese. And I ain't never put cream cheese on hot dog. Like, I really love cream cheese. I'm not doing a jalapeno, but I'm
yeah.
But make sure the bread is toasted, because their bread is toasted.
Oh, okay.
Toasted or at least warm, but not soggy warm, to where it's like you don't want it crispy to where you gotta like crunch it, but you want it to where it's not dry and kind of like my skin.
Yeah, it's like how most burger joints, they toast the bun. It's just
exactly.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, and I've heard that about the Seattle dog. It was created.
I heard about every damn dish in the world. Good God Almighty!
Quiet, man, Mike. I heard about this dish. Hold on, listen. It's a history behind it, because but the Seattle dog, it was created in the early '90s when that Nirvana was taking the scene.
A history of food.
But am I right? Am I right, Lars?
So I honestly don't know the history because I was also born in the early '90s. So I won't disagree with you. I wouldn't be surprised. I can tell you, pickleball was invented from my hometown of Bainbridge Island, but I don't know the origin of the Seattle dog.
Yeah, Seattle dogs, they were created in those like nightclubs. Again during the theme of Nirvana. Then Nirvana turned into Pearl Jam. That rock bands.
I can see that down in Pioneer Square. Absolutely, I can see
Grunge,
that.
the grunge bands. I was a big fan of the grunge bands, and I'm still trying to figure out what happened to Mia Zapata. So that I don't know.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh.
I'm a Nirvana guy myself, so.
Yeah. So what dessert y'all known for up there? I know y'all known for Starbucks. We know that, but
No. Starbucks can die. If we have a 9.0 earthquake and the city happens to get, split in half and Starbucks falls into the sound, I can guarantee you me and a bunch of other Sonics fans are not going to care. So, but to answer your question from a dessert, honestly, I mean, off the top of my head, I can't think of. I'll tell you, I guess another shameless plug here. We do have a really good ice cream place. It's called Mora's Ice Cream. It's also on Bainbridge Island, so you got to make the trek over to Seattle if you want it. But there's 60, 80 flavors. It's like Baskin Robbins on steroids. Like it's authentic. It's from Argentina, the family that founded it. And all the the ingredients come from Argentina and those sort of things. So it's not like made in America, but actually packaged in China. No, it's cultivated in Argentina, brought up to the U.S., made on Bainbridge Island. It's fantastic. People actually will they don't come up to Seattle just for it, but they will go to Bainbridge Island just for the Mora's ice cream. That's how good it is.
Okay. All right. Well, those are good things, man. Man, they all sound good. If anybody ever in the Seattle area, well, we have somebody that lives in the Seattle area that's with our content in our camp, Coach Unchained. You might want to check him out. He lives up there in the Seattle area, so he covered the Falcons for us. So,
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll have to DM him after the show. But yeah, I mean, well, like I kind of led this show where it's like the crazy connections of Atlanta and Seattle. It's yeah, I've been to Atlanta a few times. I'm not gonna lie. I came up one time out of the tunnel or out of the light rail or whatever you guys call it down there, and there was a parade, but everyone was in costumes. It was like a but it wasn't Disney. It was like I don't know if it was furries or what it was, but it was a really interesting welcome to Atlanta moment. And then I watched Auburn beat UW in the Mercedes Benz Dome, so that was great. But
Probably Dragon Con Z. Probably.
Yeah.
That's,
Probably DreamCon or something like
oh
that.
yeah, yeah.
yeah. And by the way, it's all fine. I just didn't know. I didn't mean to sound insulting. I
No, 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 no. You fine. We got so much stuff going down here. Half the time, I don't even know what the hell be going on down
If,
here.
if it was early
Right down the
September,
street, like they be shooting movies and stuff right up the street from my house. So that's just that's the new Atlanta that we live in right now, man.
yeah.
Hey,
Exactly.
I got a question for you guys. What are your guys' thoughts on Jimmy Lake? And how much control does he have over that defense? Because I know Raheem's got to be the guy running point on it, but just what's the, I guess, impression of Jimmy been?
Good. No, Mike.
I actually like him. The things that I'm seeing from Jimmy Lake, I kind of like Jude spoke on it a bit, but the thing that I like from Jimmy Lake is um, I don't think at this particular point in time we're going to see much of his personality as far as the coach is concerned just yet. But I think next year, for the most part, you're going to start seeing him step up as his personality a bit. And those are the things for me that I want to see more for him. But what I see now for the scheme is that it doesn't take them a lot of time. Like he uses his DBs well as far as those guys um, being a complement to the front seven and attacking and getting pressure. These guys, he used the corners. He was used as starters. He would use his main guy. He would use his shutdown corner, AJ Terrell, to use those guys and run and run defense. Like I love the way he utilized his secondary as to kind of be an aid of uh, stopping the run. I love that because like I'm a huge fan of now I'm a huge fan of Steve Spagnuolo, and I love the way that those guys use their secondary to kind of help the defense because like offense, you got to figure out where those guys are coming from, and I think that's the thing with Jimmy Lake. You don't know where his DBs are going to be from time to time, and that's what I'm seeing and what I like from Jimmy Lake.
Personally, I like to see a little more man when we get down to the red area. But overall, I don't have an issue with him. I mean, um, I'm listen. I'm getting to know him right now. Right now, it's like it's like when you first start dating somebody. Right now, hey, we getting to know each other. So, but I, and listen, man. When you're watching a football game live, you're watching it as a fan. So I'm one of those fans. I scream at the TV. I throw stuff at the TV, and I might be like, man, can we please get out this blankety blank zone and let's go. Let's go a little man. But other than that, I mean, look, man, proof's in the pudding for first 6 games. This defense has, you know, I mean, everybody know the only issue. I mean, the only issue is probably getting the quarterback on the ground a little bit more. But Mike had to bring something to my attention last week. You can't get the quarterback on the ground if we in third and medium and third and short a lot. So, but other than that, like I said, hey, he warming up to me. I'm warming up to him. So
Yeah, Lake. I think he has a vision of what this defense is going to be. I've seen, like spells of it here and there in some games, but right now is I can tell like at least 75-80% of the plays on defense is Raheem Morris as of now. So,
oh,
and you know more than all of us on this panel. Jimmy Lake is a man guy. he doesn't really play zone as much.
Okay, I didn't know that.
So
Yeah, and then that's why I was curious how much, given Raheem's the head coach, I assumed it was his defense, but I have to imagine he's pretty tight with Jimmy, and they go back. But yeah, if Jimmy's running the show, he ain't calling zone. He loves, because again, to your point about helping the corners in the run, he is so demanding in a good way of his corners and his DBs. He wants those guys playing 60s, plus snaps. Hey, your run, your pass, you're out there. If you want to take yourself off the field, cool. You might not get back on the field. Like, he did that a lot, both at UW and back, when he was in Tampa and Detroit and all that sort of stuff. But no, he's going to get your DBs. He's going to get your DBs there in a hurry too. So yeah, I would imagine Jimmy will probably get more rain next year and in maybe year 3, depending on what Raheem's seeing. But yeah, it'll be interesting.
I like what I'm saying. Period. I said it. I've been saying this every week. I like coaches that make adjustments. He's making the right adjustments. So I love what I'm seeing out of Jimmy Lake. I don't care if it's a mixture of him and Raheem Morris, whoever is calling the plays. I think it's Jimmy Lake calling the plays. Of course, Raheem Morris is the overseer of the entire team. So I think he's even overseeing the offense as well, which as a head coach, you should be overseeing everything. But as you talked about Jimmy Lake, one thing that I can say about our corners is I like corners that's going to come up and be physical and tackle. So maybe they're taking on that part of Jimmy Lake that when you said that he's demanding in that regard. In this defense, you can't play on this Falcons defense unless you're willing to tackle. And everybody on this team are willing tacklers, especially in the secondary. And that's when you don't let up a bunch of yards, when guys run after catch. And I've been seeing that this year. Yeah, there have been broken tackles and things of that nature. But as far as explosive plays, I mentioned this Tuesday on What's the Word. I haven't seen any busted coverages. And we've seen that over the years where guys are just running wide, scot-free open. I like to see guys on the string. And I don't know if it's because we have veterans back there, but it's the discipline and the coaching. These guys are in the right positions. Even if a play is made, I haven't seen somebody just running scot-free and it's a busted coverage. Guys are where they're supposed to be. So that's one thing that I can say is they hold these guys accountable. These guys know what they're supposed to be doing. Now, of course, we do have two of the better safeties with Simmons and Bates. So, of course, they're going to keep everybody, together on that back end. But just the defense as a whole, these guys haven't been letting up big plays. And that's been one of our Achilles heels is in our previous regime on the defensive side of the ball is guys being able to get the 70-yard bomb or us giving up a big play where it's busted coverage. Somebody's, last year was we blaming Richie Grant because he's always the one getting caught. He's the one on the screen, in the shot, chasing somebody. And we that was his coverage. And this year I haven't seen that. So that's one thing that I love is the discipline. So Jimmy Lake is definitely bringing something to the table as far as discipline and making the right adjustments. Yes, at times he, early in the season, I believe it was the first game or something like that. It was like a crucial third down. We didn't blitz. The next week, bomb blitz. That's what I like to see, that you're not just going to sit there and do the same thing over and over again, expect a different result. You're going to mix it up. So that's one thing that I like about him is if he sees something not working, whoever's making the calls, they're making the right adjustments. They're pressing the right buttons at the right time.
Yeah, Raheem doesn't he doesn't make the calls. He doesn't call. He said he wasn't gonna be calling plays earlier. So Jimmy Lake is the one that's making the calls. He's just making the adjustments for him.
That's significant because Jimmy's last year at UW did not do that. Did not make the adjustments. And now again, I understand college to NFL, but so that's a good sign. I'm happy Jimmy's kind of grown in that regard. Because he's a good dude. It ended
he's doing it now. He learned from his mistakes.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was a lot better than what we had, where we was giving up 3rd and 22s on a consistent ass basis.
Oh, yeah.
I had a nickname for that defense, which will not be named on this show tonight. And for those that don't watch this show for a long time, knows exactly what defense I'm talking about. But before we get out of here, Lars, there was a question that was in the chat. Was there a Falcon player that you could say that was your favorite to watch?
Michael Vick, and it's not close. And I say that pre and post, because as a kid who grew up in Seattle and had to watch Matt Hasselbeck and all those guys, and I was a big fan of RG3 at Baylor and all those guys. Michael Vick was just different. And a buddy of mine grew up a Donovan McNabb fan, so I was kind of the Michael Vick to his Donovan McNabb. The irony there ended up Mike played in both. But throw me out another quarterback who could play as athletic as Mike and still drop it like a dime. And I'm not saying Penix is going to be Vic, because he's not that mobile. Nobody is as mobile as Mike Vick. but that zip, the way that he could, the flick of the wrist and the shot, ridiculous. I know it was in Philadelphia, but still, just to me, the second would probably be Michael Turner, and I know that's a weird one, but just Michael the Burner Turner was always one that just
that's
was
not
kind of
weird
that.
neither. He's
Was
a
kind of
fan
that guy
favorite.
before that guy was never the 1A, but was always the 1B that you always had to have. And even in this day and age, 20 years plus later, we're still talking about you got to have running back 2 and 3. Even if you got running back A like Bijan, you got to have another one too, just in case.
Lars, you just don't know what we gonna have to deal with.
Yeah.
Damn you, Lars. Damn you. Damn. I'm just meeting you, but I'm telling you, damn you. But the fellas on the panel already know what I'm talking about. Oh boy.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't mean that as to go down the rabbit hole of everything else. And Mike, again, I can separate the player from that situation. And you know what? Going slightly down that rabbit hole, he made himself better. Came out of it on the other end. Could have easily not. So for whatever. And again, I understand people got their opinions on it, but I mean, the guy came out like Andy Dufresne. He came out on the other side squeaky clean. And isn't he working for Fox or something now? Or he's doing something.
Yeah, it was Fox. I think it was
He's
Fox.
on TV somewhere. I know that because the fact that I somehow saw, and I was like, hey, you know what? It's good that through everything that Mike was able to still come out with an image that was public in some regard, because he was a hell of a player. So you can't, wasn't the other guy where it's like, hey, we're not going to mention what he did off the field, but he was a great running back. It's like, hey, no, there's a little bit of different agreeing here. And, he served his time, did all that. But, yeah, I'm sure that is a bitter taste for Falcons fans.
He threw a lot of ones in Magic City. Never mind.
We're not doing that. We're not doing this. We ain't going to do that.
My bad.
I say one thing. I say, I think a lot of us will agree when it comes to Mike Vick. I think Michael Vick may have been one of the biggest what if stories down here in Atlanta.
Right? Yeah, I would agree.
It was one of the biggest what ifs. And what I mean by what ifs is, what if he would have took his position a little bit serious? Because we also have to remember, and even he's admitted it too, that he really didn't take it serious like that. Because, like I said, he knew he was that athletically gifted. I don't know. Like you said, it was just him having to grow up, had the game took away from him, and go to Philly. Philly was kind of like what we were hoping to see him maturate into.
I'm gonna pick it back.
He changed the game. Like he changed the game from a scouting standpoint. Like scouts wasn't giving guys like him a chance. So like when you look at him, it's like they thought Steve Young was like after the Steve Young debacle, like everybody thought he was going to be great from the very beginning. That's why he went. I think he went number 1 overall. Steve
Number
Young.
1 overall to Tampa Bay.
Because he was more athletically gifted than he was a quarterback at the time. So people gave up on those types of quarterback. And then when Mike Vick came along in college, he blew the fucking world up in college. Okay, it was you couldn't turn on the TV and when he was at Virginia Tech, and I like I know y'all had parties every Saturday. Okay, every Saturday in VA. That man right there was absolutely phenomenal. So he changed the game from a scouting standpoint, and this is why we're seeing guys like Patrick Mahomes. We saw guys like right now like Lamar, like they owe him everything. Like the league owes Michael Vick, especially what a quarterback position is right now, because you wouldn't be seeing a lot of these quarterbacks if it wasn't for Mike Vick. And at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, Mike Vick was like Dan Reed deserved a lot more respect as a scout and a coach and a general manager because he saw what Michael Vick could become, and he didn't try to fit Mike Vick into a system. He said Mike Vick is a system. Let's build around him, and that right there is something that we see now because of Dan Reed. So yeah, Mike Vick changed the game, man.
So do you think Jim Moore Jr. was the one that kind of hampered that process as far as being that coach
He
that
didn't.
wasn't there rich?
He was a groupie. Okay, he was
He yeah.
real. He got caught up in the Mike Vick, and that was easy to do it because dude was bigger than life. There was
Yeah.
nothing in the NFL in sports like Mike Vick, so he was a fan of him. And I think that's the thing with a lot of coaches. You gotta stop being a fan of these players and understand like they're still players. They still need to be guided the right way. And I think Jim Morris just got caught up in the whole aura of Mike Vick.
It's the blessing and the curse that we always talk about. When you're
Yep.
extremely gifted athletically, sometimes you go away from the fundamentals. And that's what I think when he went to Philly with Andy Reid, he got back down to the fundamentals of the game. When he was in Atlanta, it was just all athleticism. We've seen guys like that were just so blessed athletically, gifted, God given gifts that they don't have to put in the work. You see it all the time with basketball players. These guys that can jump out the gym, extremely athletic, but they don't have the other tools. So once
Hmm.
they get injured or something like that, they don't have the ability because they're not fundamentally sound. They can't change their game. You seen a guy who just got into the Hall of Fame, and Vince Carter, who
Man, yeah,
changed his game. He was extremely athletic, could jump out the gym, still can dunk the ball, but you seen he had a long career because he developed the other tools. He could shoot the three. He could do other things. He could play defense. He didn't just have to rely on strictly just his athleticism, his ability to dunk the ball. So I really feel like with Mike Vick, just those God-given abilities, man. Lars, that's why I'm a Atlanta Falcons fan, because of Mike Vick. Mike Vick, like he said, when he was at Virginia Tech, he set the world on fire, man. He was just the way that he played the game, like Mike said, he changed the game because we heard them tell Lamar Jackson, you need to be a wide receiver or a running back when he came out. When you that gifted athletically, they don't even know what to do with you at the quarterback position, or when you were that gifted athletically. At times, Michael Vick was the best athlete, the fastest guy on the field. You rarely see that at the quarterback position to have that God-given ability. So what he had, which is God-given, you see one of those once in a lifetime. That's why when they talk about Mike Vick, I put him up over in the corner over here. There will never be another Mike Vick. Mike Vick was God-given. That's 1%. God just gave him a little bit more than their others when it comes to athleticism. Even Lamar Jackson, I still put Mike Vick over in the corner. I don't, because Lamar can't do all the things that Mike Vick could do. He can run like him, but he didn't have that arm. Like you said, you can flick the wrist and throw the ball almost 100 yards down the field. And the power, the throwing power, and all. Man, Mike Vick was a special talent, man. Special talent.
Which was kind of weird because he's naturally right-handed.
yeah, yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Yeah,
To righty. Yep.
he's a natural right hand, right righty.
He do everything right handed but throw a football.
Exactly, exactly.
I'm pretty sure Penix is 100% natural left-handed. Like
Yeah.
I've never seen that man do anything with his right hand. So
15% of the world.
crazy.
15% of the world. All right, man. We're gonna go ahead and wind it down, man. Laws, we appreciate you coming on with us, man. Let you go ahead and plug yourself for the people so they know where they can find you. Hey, man, take it away.
Appreciate you guys. Well, hey, this was a blast, and regardless of how the game goes, this was more than enjoyable. So glad you guys could suffer through my little technical difficulties here. But yeah, so on Twitter at Lars Hanson, HANSON, to clarify from the beginning of this whole show where I said HANSEN was the white basketball player. Yeah, still the same, but just a little bit shorter. And if you're looking for any of my work, Athlon Sports, Lars Hanson, pretty much kind of just type anything in. You can either go to my Twitter page, all the links will be there, or just pretty much type in Athlon Sports, Lars Hanson, and I guarantee you, there's about 3 or 4 things that'll pop up right away. And other than that, if you're a Husky fan, a college football fan, Don, no offense, but we also have a Locked On Huskies podcast that I do. So we kept the Michigan game, we kept all our Washington stuff that we do throughout the week, and also do the Seahawks. So it's every footy in Seattle that is not high school or soccer.
Okay. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pin it in our community tab, and y'all make sure everybody show him some love. Make sure you go ahead and follow him. It will be in the community tab on Mad Mike Sports as well.
Mhm.
So hey man, we're gonna give y'all nights back. Hey, till next time, people. We ain't here to play.
Oh no.
We here to stay.
Oh yeah. Dig it.
You ain't gotta go home.
But you got to get the hell up out of here.
Truth, you know what to do.
Thanks for the man, Lars, all the way out there on the left coast for the heavy hitters, Don. The Jew, 6-man K Styles, my man, Mad Mike. I'm your man, OG Truth with a 2, Hurts with a Z. And with the heavy hitters, we always seek and speak the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
We out here.
Hey.